Prepare to experience the strongest radio allowable by law. Secrets will be revealed. Myths dispelled. From the studio gym where excuses never apply, it's Superhuman Radio with your host, Carl Lenore.
Hey, welcome back to another episode of Superhuman Radio. Today is February 8th, 2021. We are deep into 2021 now. Hopefully, many of you have maintained your commitments to your health and fitness. Nobody's given up yet. We have a good show today. We're going to have Dr. Anthony Balduzzi come on and talk about his Fit Father project. May just be what you need to continue on in a positive trajectory for 2021. Later, Dziak from Pure Nootropics is coming on. You know, we did a marvelous show about alpha lipoic acid recently, and true to form, Pure Nootropics has put together a fantastic deal for my audience on a stabilized R-lipoic acid. We're going to talk about that a little bit later in the show. But of course, before we do anything, we have to thank my title sponsor, which is Legendary Foods. The website is shrnetwork.biz/legendary. SHR10 is the code. You got to try the new Red Velvet Tasty Pastries. As many of you remember, the old Tasty Pastry, the original one, was more like a Pop-Tart. It's got a more rigid crust. This is a flaky, puffy crust, kind of like you'd find in an apple turnover. And this new Red Velvet flavor is amazing. 20 grams of high leucine protein, 5 net carbs, 0 sugar. Buy them for your kids. They don't have to know that it's good for them. And of course, if you want to try to win a box of Tasty Pastries, every day on every show, there is a secret word hidden in the commercial break. All you need to do when you hear the secret word, email it to onair@superhumanradio.net. You're entered to win one of the Tasty Pastry boxes we give away every day. And a lot of people are excited. A lot of people are winning because not enough of you are replying right now. We have some of you who've won boxes. You need to sit it out because we need to give these boxes to some other people. So if you're listening to this show weeks later, don't despair. You send in the secret word, you are still entered to win a box of Tasty Pastries that week. That's how the program works. We want to be fair to everybody. I know a lot of people are as much as 2 weeks behind on listening to podcasts because, you know, I do 4 to 5 shows a week. It's a big commitment. Okay, so without further delay, we're going to bring Dr. Anthony Balduzzi on. How you doing, Dr. Balduzzi?
Amazing. Happy to be here. You got me excited about Tasty Pastries now. I'm going to looking into that.
You know, the funny thing is Legendary Food has the best seasoned almonds. The almonds are so fresh.
Nice.
They have the best nut butters, 0 sugar in their flavored nut butters. Unbelievable. But these Tasty Pastries, they're a game changer. You know, not everybody wants to eat a protein bar.
Yep.
Not everybody wants a lot of fiber, which protein bars have gone crazy with fiber.
Mm-hmm.
These things replace the protein bar, but you feel like eating a piece of cake. It's fantastic.
Nice.
Yeah.
Tasty Pastries.
Tasty Pastry. So let's talk about you. First of all, you need to tell your story, your journey before you became a physician and where you are now with your mission.
Yeah. Well, My journey into health and fitness came from watching my own dad get very sick. Basically, my dad was like a lot of dads. He worked himself to the bone to put food on the table for me, my mom, my little brother, and working huge nights, missing out on healthy eating, skipping exercise, and eventually got so sick that he passed away at 42. He had a cancer diagnosis and he died at 42. So I was 9 at the time. My little brother was 6. And it devastated our family. I mean, to see all the suffering that dad went through. And then in my mind was like, how are we going to pull this together for our family? So I started at a young age looking into nutrition and exercise because I wanted to make sure that I was going to be around to take care of my mom, my little brother. And I wanted to be around for my kids and to see my grandkids grow up. And so I got a deep passion for health and fitness from this young age. And I started studying everything I could about nutrition, exercise, sleep, the immune system, how to build muscle. And that started at a young age and kind of just propelled me forward into fitness, competitive bodybuilding, eventually medical school. And now what we do with the Fit Father Project is we basically help busy guys like my dad in their 40s, 50s, and 60s who want to both do all the things they want to do with their busy career, but also be able to have a sustainable health routine where they can, lose the fat, extend their lifespan, build muscle, maintain a healthy metabolism, and just feel better as they age instead of worse and sick. Because right now, if you don't do anything, society's pushing men in the direction of getting weaker, fatter, dumber. It's just we have bad food, and this is why you look at the obesity statistics for men over 40. It's like 50% of people are overweight, right? And a lot of those are morbidly obese, and they estimate that for men over 40 who are overweight, like 50% of them, British Journal of Cancer says that 50% of them may experience some kind of cancer in their lifetimes because when you screw up the metabolism, you screw up the immune system from this bad living that so many of us are trapped in. Bad things happen. Saw it happen to my dad, and I'm on a mission to make sure it doesn't happen to other dads. And so that's what we do with the Fit Father Project. And I'm really happy to share that our team has helped around 50,000 families in our program in over 100 countries. So it's amazing, and we're just getting started. So what I'm happy to share here is some of the stuff that we figured out that works. We'll talk about testosterone. We'll talk about turning back the clock. We'll talk about how to make health sustainable. This is my life passion, and I really love sharing it with people because this is the stuff that can really change your life.
So one of the unique things that you have in your wheelhouse that a lot of quote unquote anti-aging physicians don't is your early love of physical culture.
Yes.
Early on, there's a lot of, mainstream health gurus, but they don't really understand the value of progressive resistance training,
correct,
making the organism stronger, right? We talk about hormetic effects of, you don't take your antibiotic long enough. What you basically did was made that microbe stronger now. That pathway has gotten stronger because you didn't kill it. And the old saying, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Sure.
So making the organism stronger is not just about the immune system, which we know is in the gut, but it's about the structure. We know that muscle is now part of the endocrine system, right? Yes. So that's one of the things I see that's different about you because you are a fan of progressive resistance training. You're saying, hey, this is part of the prescription. Talk about what you learned as a bodybuilder that actually works its way into modern medicine today for you.
Sure. Well, I think first off, I'm going to make a bold statement here. I think it's more important for people over 40 to strength train than it is for people in their 20s and 30s. Hands down. So important. Because what's essentially happening is, we'll take this from a couple different angles. As we age, if we do nothing, we lose our muscle mass. We lose it. It's just age-related muscle mass, sarcopenia. The body use it or lose it kind of thing. So when we start losing our muscle mass, a couple bad things happen. First off, we start losing our metabolic engine. Muscle helps us keep our metabolism high. The more muscle you have as you get into later in life, the better your metabolism is going to be. And that is huge for you because if you have a metabolism that's faster than most average guys in their 40s and 50s, you're not going to gain as much fat. Maybe you'll be even losing fat while still enjoying a larger number of calories. And this is super important because if you start gaining weight and losing muscle, this is like the triad where your hormones start getting screwed up like crazy, right? When you have more adiposity, which effectively is going to start converting some of your testosterone to estrogen, and you have a lower metabolic rate, that is a recipe for disaster. Now, what also happens too, happens with our immune system, but it also happens with the energy producers in our muscles, is our mitochondria start to get weaker and less functional as we age, especially if we're having a bad standard American diet, blood sugars all over the place. We get this stuff called mitochondrial dysfunction. So inside our cells, we have these energy producing mitochondria. We need to keep them working as good as possible. We want to keep them young. We want to keep them healthy. And guess what actually causes mitochondrial biogenesis? Strength training. Exercise does. So when you exercise, you actually get the mitochondria to regenerate, which means you have more cellular energy. So eat all the calories you want. Ultimately, this stuff needs to get into your cells and it needs to produce ATP for your body, the energy currency that you do use. So if we can essentially get your machinery working younger, turn back the clock there, you're in so much better shape. I actually looked this up because I shot a video for our YouTube channel a couple days ago, and this was amazing to me. What they found was that people who strength train their entire lives, when they're in their 90s, have more muscle mass than those who are in their 50s who don't lift. You can have more muscle at 90 than at 50 if you're not active. So I think there's two things you can take from that. One, you get a compounding effect of strength. So it doesn't matter if you haven't strength trained in 20 years and you're 50 right now, like get going now, start investing in that bank account because it's going to pay off for years. And two, this stuff is so much more than just your muscles and your metabolism. Like this is the functioning of your body at a cellular capacity. So this is really cool. We're now really on the frontier of this boom in longevity and anti-aging medicine. And some things that we're realizing is there's these genes, these sirtuin genes that code for these sirtuin enzymes. I'm sure you guys have talked about on the show, right? Sirtuins are very positively associated with longevity. We're still trying to figure out exactly what they do, but they extend telomeres and do some other really cool stuff like that. Guess what raises sirtuins? Strength training raises sirtuins like crazy. So ultimately, what we want to do is find a way to make your strength training time efficient, because you're a busy guy. You got to get it in, right? You know it's important, but we got to make sure you can get it into the routine. Got to make sure you modify some exercises. So these good compound exercises, but make them safe for your joints when you're in your 40s, 50s, 60s. I mean, you know, it needs to feel good for you to be doing it over the long haul. And that's what we do with the Fit Father Project, right? We help you strength train, probably even if you're doing lifting, like 3 times a week of like some proper strength training is enough stimulus to get your body, like we're talking like an hour and a half of strength training can change your life as you age. So it's amazing stuff.
Well, interestingly enough, you know, the whole senescent cell has become front and center in the discussion of aging.
Yes.
This metabolic debris that builds up, these senescent cells, they become zombies. They produce a lot of inflammatory cytokines. They poison all the healthy cells around them. Eventually, those cells go bad too. And a single bout of resistance training can eliminate 70% of senescent cells in muscle tissue. Now, when you think about this and its impact, muscle tissue, if you are a big guy or a big gal, chances are you have maybe at least 40 to 50% of your tissue is muscle tissue.
Yes.
And the idea that you can immediately vanquish 70% of senescent cells just by one single resistance training bout. And here's the interesting thing about the study. They fed these men high, medium, and low protein diets to see if leucine turning on mTOR reversed the effects of vanquishing these senescent cells. And it didn't. Because
that's amazing.
Well, people have mTOR wrong right now, right? Right now, it's like, oh, shut off mTOR, I'll live forever. No, mTOR is responsible for making memories because it has to fold proteins. Proteins are basically the storage form of a memory. mTOR is required to maintain muscle mass. mTOR plays a large role in so many different functions in the body now. The idea of shutting off mTOR in hopes that it'll help you live longer is actually asinine. It's stupid. Those people out there who are avoiding anything that'll turn on mTOR in hopes that they can live forever are going to be sadly mistaken when they get older and they can't get out of a chair and they can't remember anything. Bad move. So, but the interesting thing about this research was that even though mTOR was stimulated by the high protein consumption, we're talking about 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight, which the average bodybuilder and athlete is eating at.
Yes.
The senescent cells were still removed from the, and you know, that's probably part of the process of actually stretching the muscle. We know that stretching the muscle increases androgen receptor biogenesis into.
Yes.
So there's so much value misunderstood and really completely ignored by the medical orthodoxy to resistance training. It's actually, it's medicine. It's a form of medicine.
It is. You get the immediate hormonal effects, which are obviously beneficial, right? Strength training raises testosterone, growth hormone after training, which is amazing. And I want to talk about that, just because it's a fascinating topic, which you just brought up. And I want to share my perspective on like the mTOR, perhaps the bigger picture here. So I'm sure everyone listening is familiar, right? mTOR, anabolic signaling downstream from insulin, turns on muscle protein synthesis inside the cells, like very, very important for anabolism. Now, what's fascinating and what I know about your personal routine, Carl, is that I believe for longevity, what we need to maintain this kind of balance in our systems between anabolism and catabolism. We need both, and they need to work together. And it's unfortunate because it's almost like we have fitness people right now and physical culturists who are trying to maximize anabolism as much as possible, taking all sorts of shit, right? Anything we can do to rev up that engine. And it obviously causes tissue growth, but there may be problems associated with unchecked anabolism, like different things grow, like certainly cancers are very, very anabolic, right? Now, at the other side, we have catabolism. So it's like, let's go on a super low protein diet. Let's shut down mTOR. Let's just make sure that. So there's this catabolic effect that's here. Well, we need both. This body has a yin and yang perspective. And so what I love that you do is you incorporate intermittent fasting, right? Which is a very controlled and almost targeted form of catabolism, because we want our bodies to break down denatured proteins, cellular junk. We want that autophagy, autolysis to happen, and our bodies are built to fast. A lot of great things happen when we fast, and we want to be catabolic with our fat tissue, right? Anabolic with our muscle tissue. So we need this stuff to kind of like happen in a balance. So what we do with our fit fathers is we give them like these anabolic pulses, right? Where they're getting these strength training workouts that are pulsing the anabolism. We do advocate a higher protein diet for sure. We're big fans of that, but we also do intermittent fasting and cyclical calories, essentially, because it gets to turn on some of those beneficial catabolic signals. And when the body's in a catabolic state during a fast, there's actually good stuff that happens to neuronal biogenesis, like you get new neurons. There's raises the growth hormone when insulin's super low. So a lot of beautiful things. We need to manage the yin and the yang, not just leave it unchecked. And I think you look at it like a lot of bodybuilders from the golden era who, they didn't even have the same kind of drugs that are available today, but a lot of those guys are dying early. And I think because if you just do unchecked anabolism for a long, long time, probably not great for your heart, probably does increase some cancer risk. But if you're balancing this out with the body's natural catabolic machinery that creates the yin yang, you're in good shape. And that's my stance on it.
There was a study that we talked about on this show in around 2019. So people think that autophagy only occurs during time-restricted feeding.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't. There is a baseline of autophagy happening all the time.
It has to be for us to function, right?
Well, this study showed that the protein synthetic response of both training and protein consumption was enhanced when basal autophagy was elevated. So this idea that, you're not going to build muscle if you're turning on autophagy all the time because you're starving yourself. No.
You get a better response.
Yes, it actually, because you know why? Because the body operates, I like to call this phenomenon the phenomenon of abundance and scarcity.
100%.
Like we know, this was discovered early on. So children who suffer from idiopathic short stature, let's just say they give them 5 IUs of growth hormone every day for a week. That is 35 IUs of growth hormone a 7-day week. If they give that same 35 IUs of growth hormone haphazardly, 7 IUs one day, 4 IUs 2 days later, those children have a greater growth trajectory than getting the same amount day in and day out. Look at omega-3 fatty acids. We evolved to eat fish. We probably ate it when it was available, but we didn't have it all the time.
Correct.
When you take omega-3 fatty acids with this idea of scarcity and abundance, maybe you take a bolus dose on a Monday, you don't have any for 3 days, then you have another, you actually get more of it stored in fat cells. If you take it daily, the same amount, the body starts to oxidize it and use it as energy because it thinks, oh, this is in abundance. We'll just burn it up. So it's so important to oscillate these phenomenons in the body.
Yes.
You actually have better results.
Yes. It's absolutely amazing. So fascinating. And I love it. And it kind of comes down to, I like to keep things, as we're on the frontiers of science and really starting to uncover some of the mechanisms behind these things and fine tuning. I'm a guy who just likes to use a little bit of logic and look at like from an evolutionary perspective, like why is our machinery the way it is?
Right.
It's because we didn't have constant food access. It's because we caught fish once in a while. We got a big bolus of omega-3s. It's because we were meant to fast and we were meant to feed. It's because we had intermittent bouts of high intensity exercise and low levels of just general aerobic and walking. Like this is what the species like grew up on. So a big part of my perspective is like, how do we help realign ourselves with some of this foundational stuff, optimize with science where we know it can be, and get back to a more natural way of living? And this is where it's almost like a nice segue into testosterone, because it's like one of the biggest things when looking at increasing testosterone levels is not just the stuff we want to talk about, like nutrition and strength training supplementation. It's like your circadian rhythm too, right?
Yes.
It's like you got to get your circadian rhythm right if you want high test levels, because what we do know is that there is a seesaw relationship between cortisol and testosterone. Cortisol's high, test levels are low. Like it's just how it is. They actually studies, they show that they will inject you with exogenous cortisol, right? They can do it IM or IV, and it will immediately lower your circulating testosterone levels, like within minutes of being injected. Why? Because when the body's in a stress state, cortisol's high, fight or flight response, like you're not looking to use testosterone. You want to like mobilize sugar. You want to run. You need to get out of Dodge. You need to like figure something else out, right? It's not like testosterone is when you're in a relaxed, high-fed, good training, good mood, confident.
The environment is not hostile.
Correct.
Because think about it. When women starve, like female bodybuilders, they lose their period. Why? Because their body is going, wow, we must live in a really hostile environment. The last thing we want to do is have a baby because she can't even feed herself. How's she going to feed the baby? They shut off the machinery. They shut off the sex machinery.
Yes, and we have exactly such a great point, because the men's, we do the same thing. We just don't have the huge signal of the period, and our hormones don't fluctuate quite as much, but it's the same thing. So when it comes to optimizing testosterone, man, we got to get the circadian rhythm right, which requires, in my opinion, is getting out in the sun in the morning, getting sunshine in your eyes, because we think of our circadian rhythm and we think of this as just sleep, but no, it's this whole light dark cycle we need to manage. And what the body does best on is getting out in the sunshine in the morning. We get sun in the eyes, triggers an area of the brain called the suprachiasmatic nucleus, and actually triggers the brain to create serotonin. And serotonin is this feel-good neurotransmitter, has so many benefits. The brain makes serotonin in response to sunlight that later in the day is converted to melatonin at night, which is anti-inflammatory from the brain, helps us relax. It's amazing, right? So we want this cycle. So guys need to get sunshine. And ideally, if we're in a perfect world, you want to talk about boosting your testosterone, you're naked in the sun. You get sun on your testicles. There is profoundly cool stuff showing that either red light or full spectrum sunlight directly on the testicles gives that vitamin D and actually helps increase testosterone levels. So that's probably not possible for most of us, right? We don't have the luxury of being, thousands and thousands of years ago, we can go outside and just sunbathe our testicles. But it does show that if our body has this response, it is like the natural way that we're supposed to be bathing in this light. And it's something that we can take advantage of, get more sunshine for the vitamin D and for the rhythm. And that will help control your cortisol. Actually, so cortisol naturally spikes in the morning. We want a cortisol. We just don't want it to be unchecked all the time where it's like chronic stress. And the sunshine actually helps smooth out that cortisol response in the morning. So for guys who want to raise their T, you got to look at stress. And to look at stress, you got to look at your circadian rhythm.
So setting up the body for a good night's sleep. It's interesting that you talk about this. I'm a big fan of getting outside first thing in the morning. And I walk out on the deck, and maybe the sun's not out, but it's still daylight that I'm getting.
Yes.
So there's a mildly popular peptide called DSIP, deep sleep inducing peptide.
Okay.
And people take it. They take it an hour before bed. They take it a half hour before bed. It wrecks their sleep. And then they'll post a question on a forum somewhere, and I'll chime in and I'll say, you got to take it in the morning. And sure enough, they'll take it first thing in the morning and they'll say to me, wow, I slept so good. Because DSIP is produced when daylight hits your eyes in the morning.
Amazing.
It's not, the name implies that you take it at night at bed, right? Deep sleep inducing peptide. It is a deep sleep inducing peptide, but it's not produced before you go to bed. It's produced first thing in the morning when you're exposed to sunlight. And then as soon as they take it in the morning, which is completely counterintuitive,
yes,
they'll say, oh my God, I slept so good last night. And that's because, again, from an evolutionary perspective, DSIP is produced in the brain when you're exposed to daylight first thing in the morning. It sets up the start of the day. That starts the synchronicity of the circadian rhythm and other organ clocks.
Yes. Man, so good health and good sleep starts in the morning. Get more sunshine. I think that's like the first thing to say. And also, I mean, the research is pretty clear too. Like most guys could benefit from optimizing their vitamin D3 level. And when you do optimize the D3 level, testosterone levels do go up naturally. And stress burns through D3. And the best form of D3 you can get is that sulfated vitamin D3 through your skin too. So lots of benefits when possible to get outside in the sunshine. Absolutely huge. And then just also, I need to say this too, is just like managing your stress too. Like if you know there's unchecked areas of stress in your life and you're having this chronic stress kind of thing going on, you got to find the outlet. You got, whether it's meditation, whether it's prayer, whether it's exercise, whether it's talking to somebody, like those things are important for test levels. Like guys who have low test are often like, it's like a vicious cycle. You feel depressed, you feel anxious, you feel like shit, but also those kind of thinking patterns reinforce that kind of hormonal profile. And test levels can rise very quickly and rapidly in response to external stimuli, right? You send a guy around an attractive female for a small conversation, test levels can rise like 20, 30%. You put a guy like the Amy Cuddy, that famous TED Talk, power posing, like you put people in dominant poses or even pretending to be in dominant positions, test levels rise. So imagine if we're kind of doing this whole psychological negative caging thing to ourselves, it's impacting our test production all the time. So it is a variable. And even though we don't talk about it as traditional health and fitness, the mind-body axis is so important. So we love to address that in our program as well.
We're gonna take a quick commercial break. Before we do that, I just want to give folks some information. So if you want to learn more about the Fit Father Project, you can either go to shrnetwork.biz/fitfather, or what is your actual website? It's fitfatherproject.com?
Fitfatherproject.com.
Yeah, so you can go there. And in fact, if I'm correct, you have a free meal plan there, don't you?
Yep. Free meal plan, free workout. Yeah. So I would love, like, those are absolutely free. You go to fitfatherproject.com, click some buttons, enter your email. We'll send you the meal plan and the workout today.
Yeah. Free is good stuff. Anything that's free, I like. I love free.
Free and good. This is free and good.
And
free and effective. Yeah.
All right, we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we've got more to discuss with Dr. Anthony Balduzzi. Don't forget, listen for the secret word during the commercial break, and then email it to onair@superhumanradio.net. We'll be right back with more Superhuman Radio. Getting a massage post-workout is a proven strategy to facilitate better recovery. Getting to a massage therapist can be difficult and expensive, especially in these times. The solution is the Meteor, a heated massage ball from Milestorm. Reduce pain and soreness and expedite recovery with the Meteor's research-backed vibration settings and therapeutic heat. It's convenient for travel and works on any body part. Go to shrnetwork.biz/Meteor and use code SHR15 for 15% off and free shipping if you buy 2 or more. Start recovering better today. P3OM uses a patented natural process to upgrade a well-researched probiotic strain that doubles every 20 minutes once inside your body. The patent proves this strain is proteolytic, meaning it digests protein. It's antiviral, antiretroviral. It eliminates pathogens and waste and is maintainable in the human digestive system. What it does better than any other strain is fight the bad guys, bugs like parasites, viruses, and other pathogens in your gut, and it doesn't require refrigeration. If you suffer from bloating, gas, indigestion, or you just need extra protection from viruses, aka bad bacteria, then I'd suggest trying this super single strain probiotic proven to wipe out bad bacteria. Go to bioptimizers.com/SHR to get a 10% discount coupon with code SHR10 and free shipping on all products. Or save even bigger by signing up to one of the plans to get as much as 38% off. That's bioptimizers.com/SHR.
New Mass Pro Synthogen X2 just upped its own legendary game. To distance itself even further from the rest of the pack, Synthogen X2 now has double the key the active ingredients. If you've ever wondered what steroid-like recovery feels like, Synthogen X2 delivers. See why others compare it favorably to powerful bodybuilding drugs at synthogen.com. Mass Pro Synthogen. When you train with it, you'll gain with it.
Phlebotomy. Do you remember those delicious toaster pastries you had when you were a kid? You know, the rectangular sugar-filled snacks? Well, guess what? Legendary Foods has just made low-carb toaster pastry. This is the first of its kind, and honestly, these things are amazing. They have 3 to 4 net carb, less than 1 gram of sugar, and 9 grams of protein. You can eat them right out of the wrapper or lightly toast them. The only question is, which flavor, strawberry or brown sugar cinnamon? They're available at eatlegendary.com and Amazon. Whether your goal is to build muscle or burn fat, you'll find everything you need at Redcon One. Need help getting a good night's sleep? Try Fade Out, or the most popular pre-workout supplement on the market today, Total War. Sign up for their new Transformation Challenge and win $10,000, or shop for apparel that people at the gym will know that you are serious about your training. Need a testosterone booster that works? Check out Boomstick. Whatever you need, you'll find the best quality supplements on the market at Redcon One. Go to redcon1.com. That's REDCON, the number 1.com, or go to superhumanradio.net and click the Redcon One banner ad today. Being superhuman means being conscientious about the choices we make. White Oak Pastures is superhuman when it comes to raising livestock. They're committed to animal welfare, land regeneration, and rural revival. They responsibly manage the entire process from the pasture to your doorstep. High-quality, pasture-raised, great-tasting meat from a farm you can trust. Full nose-to-tail selections. They even have options for your pet. Go to shrnetwork.biz/white oak and use code SHR20 to save 20% off your entire first order.
You're listening to the Superhuman Channel. We're ripped and we're ready.
Open my microphone. Welcome back. We're talking with Dr. Anthony Balduzzi. He is the person who started the Fit Father Project, and now they have the Fit Mother Project. So they're actually helping families. And you know, you have to do this as a family. I believe that my journey to save my own life was the demise of my relationship because my ex-wife had no interest in any of the things that I became interested in. And the right way to do this is for you and your wife or your partner to do this together and reinforce, because you're going to start eating differently. And then when you sit down at dinner time, then you get this look like, oh, aren't you going to eat with us? Well, I am eating. I'm just eating my chicken and broccoli, but I'm eating with you. Well, no, that's not good enough. So you really need to do this together. The other thing that is worth mentioning is I had this conversation with more than a dozen men over the years who wanted to get in shape, who wanted to get healthy, but there were always obstacles. Mm-hmm. And so I'm a kind of in-your-face Brooklyn guy, you know. Mm-hmm. And so I would say to them, if you can't do this for yourself, do it for your kids and your wife. Do you really want them to have to take care of you because you gave yourself an illness, and so now you can't work anymore, and they have to wait on you and eventually start wiping your ass because you can't even go to the bathroom? Like that's what's in your future. That's what's in your future. If you can't do it for yourself, do it for your children. You're a model for them. Do you want them to lead this life? Do you want them to become sick and frail and unable to be productive in their lives anymore? Do it for them. And you know, guys will respond to that because we know we are here to serve our families.
Yeah, man.
And you can turn the
so
tables
well, well, you know, this is something we've found from our tens of thousands of program members. We found the exact same thing. Like, it's not that when it comes to health and fitness, there's any lack of information out there. I mean, you go on YouTube, right? You could find every workout conceivable for free. All the nutrition advice, you can find it online. You can listen to this podcast. You can look at other stuff. That's not the reason why we fail at our health and fitness. We fail because of our behaviors. We fail because of our habits, because we allow the obstacles of life to get in the way. So this is why a key part of our approach at the Fit Father Project is before we have the guys actually start their meal plan or their workout, we have them do some deep reflection and deep journaling, and they write themselves a mission statement. And the way they come to that mission statement is by actually doing exactly what you talked about, which we call it like future casting, where you basically get very real. And you're like, if I continue doing the exact behaviors that I've been doing, if I'm eating like crap, if I'm not exercising, if I'm not taking care of my stress and my sleep, where am I going to be in 5, 10, 15 years? Where does that road go? And what is that? What are the costs of that road in every area of my life I care about? What is the cost financially? What is the cost to my family? What's the cost to my spirituality, to my relationships, to my parenting? So what we need to do is make these neuro associations and connections between our behaviors with our health and all of the things we care about. Because the mistake that guys make when they say, I'm too busy for health, is they think that their health is over here and the rest of their life is over here, that these are separate things, but they're not. This body, the clarity of my thinking, our energy levels, how I look and feel, I'm taking that with me everywhere I go. You're taking that with you everywhere you go. So if you can get this right, everything else in your life elevates. And at the same time, if this foundation crumbles, everything else in your life crumbles. I saw it happen to my dad. I mean, he lost the ability to see me and my little brother grow up. You know, he lost his ability to make memories of my mom, all because he lost his health. So the important charge here is that we need to address and really make a deep emotional connection. You know, some people call it your why. My why is largely rooted in what I saw happen to my dad. Yours, what you shared, largely happened through your divorce, where you got really serious about doubling down on this stuff and like directing your life in this direction. So every guy listening to this, you have your own unique why in your story. The question is, what is it and how deeply have you connected to that? Because when you do connect, you get this willpower reservoir and you have so much greater meaning to everything that you do, where it's not just like skipping a workout because I'm busy. This is more like your integrity on the line. This is like everything is moving in this right direction. And then what that gives you is power to stick to it, power to be consistent. If you can be consistent over a year, over 2 years, over 3 years, then you make amazing changes. And the cool thing when it comes to weight loss too, is you can lose a lot of weight and really recomposition your body in a very short period of time. I mean, if you get serious about this, in 3 to 6 months, you can make massive progress with weight loss, fat loss, muscle building. So that's the cool thing. And we're huge proponents of getting very clear on your why, getting that motivation mission statement. We do that before we even get you on the workouts of the meal plan at the Fit Father Project.
So let's talk about the website again for a second. Okay. So I'm going to put this up real quick. There's 2 ways to get there. You can go to fitfatherproject.com, or if you could help us out, shrnetwork.biz/fitfather. And you can get a free meal plan, a free workout plan right there. So there's a lot of really free stuff there. At what point in time do people start to go, okay, I need to join the membership? And what does it cost to join?
So our program, Fit Father program, gives you meal plan, workouts, mission statement, accountability coaching. We basically hand you everything you need to succeed. And you're in groups with tens of thousands of other guys and our coaches, trainers, myself personally, like walking you to success for $97. Just $100, literally, like
a month. That's it.
One pay, 97.
No way.
Yes way. And the reason we're doing this is because there are a lot of people that sell multi-$1,000 health programs. They're only a fraction as good as ours. But for us, it's like started this company, like remembering my dad and what he went through. And I want to give guys no freaking excuse, because here's the deal. What I do know is, one, we want to make this as affordable and possible for every guy. But number two, we also value things we pay for. Our free stuff's great. And we get emails from people that say, hey, Dr. A, I used your free stuff all last year and I lost 50 pounds. You're the man. Thank you very much. By and large, though, when we get free stuff, it's amazing. But what really gets us to commit is when we put money on the line. We're like, yep, I'm in. Like, I'm going to do this. It's like an energetic commitment. So $97 for the program. You get everything. We walk you through. Now we have advanced programs down the line and stuff like that are additional, but straight up $97 if you want to start transforming with Fit Father Project. That's all it is.
So do you have clients who go on to compete? And, there's a lot of more aesthetic categories of bodybuilding today, right? They have physique now, where it's just, if you got a beach body, you have guys who they lose the weight, they realize, oh my God, I look so good, I think I'm going to go get on stage.
Yeah, we have a couple guys that do. especially when they go through their weight loss journey. They get lean, they get sub 10% body fat, and then they start doing some more focused muscle building strength training. We have a couple guys that do that. A lot of guys, you know, more often than not, we actually have a lot of guys that actually just start running races, like fun races, because they're like, man, I was 350 pounds. My knees have hurt for 2 decades, and now I can actually run. So like they're into that, and they just get going and moving their bodies. But yeah, and we actually put together teams of our guys. I think we actually put a team together for like a Ragnar race across the state of Arizona. I think we ran like 200 miles. There was a bunch of us, and I'm not exactly like a runner. I prefer more strength training, but we got a group of guys. I think in total they'd lost around 900 pounds, this group of guys, and we ran 200 miles across the Arizona desert, which was amazing. So yeah,
so how does that work? Do you run, sleep?
Yeah,
or
exactly. You're always rotating a runner. Someone's always running. You got a couple vans, and you're doing like waypoints, and as you're going through, it's called a Ragnar race. They do them all over the world. They're really fun. I mean, yeah, it's a super fun thing.
That is exciting. That really sounds.
Yeah, it's just adventures, and here's the deal. The thing is, like, whether or not you run, whether or not you put on the board shorts and hop on a bodybuilding stage, when you get your health right, you get a new lease on life.
Yes.
I mean, I think like literally 60, if you do things right, 60 is the new 40.
Right.
You know, like if you do it right. And I know you preach this and you live this stuff totally. So like you can regenerate your body. Your body has the capacity to do this. Now we have some of the medical technologies to do this. And the cool thing is it's the foundational stuff is like this proper calorie balanced, like non-processed diet with strength training, with good circadian rhythms, and then being consistent with that. And icing on the cake is all the other stuff that I know you talk about here on the show. And it's about getting your routine in your system. One thing I think is really important, and to kind of get into like the behaviors aspect of this, is like every man needs to find his own unique health plan. Like the diet plan that works for you or the meal timing setup that works for you might be different than the works for me. Not just because we made like different foods, but because we have different schedules. So one thing we're huge proponents of at the Fit Father Project is we give guys, when they get the Fit Father meal plan, one of the first things we do is we talk about meal timing, and we give you 5 different meal timing setups that all work. And we help you find which one's going to fit you. Is it intermittent fasting plan? Are you a guy that absolutely loves breakfast and you prefer to do that? Are you working a night shift or a third shift? And are you doing a hybrid of some of these plans? But you got to get that structure in first, because the structure of your nutrition is kind of where you hang your entire routine. Carl, I know you have your structure, right? You fast throughout the morning, you do your exercise, and then you have a meal afterwards to really maximize that anabolic protein synthesis effect. That works great for you. It works great for a lot of guys. But the key thing is you got to find the one that works for you. And it helps to kind of have that laid out, because when you have it laid out, your nutrition is no longer reactive. It is proactive. And when your nutrition becomes proactive, you can be consistent and stuff becomes a lot less complicated.
What is your opinion on HRT? Let's say you got a guy and, you know, he's sleeping well and he's doing all the things and he's a little bit above the age where maybe his gonads aren't going to respond properly anymore. Are you a proponent? Like, okay, get on some hormone replacement therapy?
Yeah, I mean, this is an individual decision for every single person. And I think what I say about HRT is I hate hearing the stories of guys who when they start HRT don't take it seriously enough, and they hop on and hop off, and they miss shots and their levels go all over the place. My philosophy and order of operations is this: 1, we get blood work. 2, we optimize everything we can naturally. 3, we're always looking at your symptoms. How are you actually feeling? Because a lot of times you can treat lab work and treat numbers versus treating what someone's actually experiencing. And those are different things. And then number 4, if a guy's like, you know, I really want to optimize my test levels. I know I'm 55 now and I know they're not getting necessarily any better. I want to hop on HRT, then I'm saying go for it. But you got to be consistent, meaning you got to find the type of HRT that you're going to be able to do long term, which means the kind of stuff that you and I actually have talked about off call. It's like, if it's a cream, are there considerations with kids in the household? Because that could be a problem, right? You don't want to get cream on your 12-year-old daughter. If it's shots, are you sure you can actually be consistent with these? If you do a pellet or something like that, there's so many different avenues. But when you do it, you commit and you get on it. No more of like this hop on, hop off, because that's very tough on the body. And there's a lot of guys that don't take it seriously, that miss shots, hop off their levels, go crazy. But overall, yeah, I'm a proponent. If a guy wants to do it, if you've done what you can to maximize naturally, good. What I would say, though, there are probably a big contingency of guys that don't get the foundations right, don't address are not optimized on their training, nutrition's not great, stress is not controlled, and then they just they take TRT. But then, like, yeah, you will get benefit from that still, like, which is fantastic, but it's not nearly as good as it could have. And I like to build a house on a strong foundation, so that's why we really talk about that stuff first.
Are there certain disease states that you see respond faster than others when a guy starts getting his sleep right, his hormones start to come up, he's losing body fat, he's increasing lean mass? Are there certain, because we have a lot of diseases today that are very popular. Neuropathies have nothing to do with diabetes, we now know.
Yeah.
You see any of those things going away?
Well, yeah, I mean, the main stuff I think most guys over 40 struggle with is some bit of metabolic syndrome, some bit of dysregulated blood sugar, some bit of insulin resistance. Like, those are the things that actually change the fastest. And that's also probably the best for longevity, especially looking at like brain health too, is like cleaning up your blood sugar control, getting your body more insulin sensitive. Very good. What also tends to improve pretty quickly is actually some arthritis and joint conditions and inflammation. Yeah. When you start eating right and losing weight, your body has a lower level of inflammation than it did previously, and your joints can feel substantially better. And when your joints feel better, you're more motivated to exercise. So everything just starts like piling on there. That's very good. And I'll say another thing, like mental health too. Like, let's just call it like depression or stress that a lot of guys feel like they're going through with uncertainty. That stuff changes super fast when you feel like you're on your game, you're moving forward. So I would say, blood sugar is insulin, metabolic syndrome stuff, any kind of inflammatory conditions, either of the gut, but particularly of the joints, respond very well when you start getting blood flow to those joints, exercising properly. And certainly these are things that do improve.
We're going to take our last commercial break. We have some questions that have come in from some live viewers. Again, we're talking about the Fit Father Project with Dr. Anthony Balduzzi. You can go to shrnetwork.biz/fitfather and get on board immediately for free. And if you want to join, hell, $97 a year. That's shocking to me. But that's
$97 for one time. Even better.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, but not even a year. For 5 years, for as long as you
yeah.
Pretty cool. All right, stay tuned. We'll be right back. We have some questions we're going to post and wrap it up. Sit tight. There we go. TaylorMade Health is focused on making sure you're able to perform and look your best. They are a leader in game-changing supplements and cosmetic products. Whether you want to increase strength, expedite recovery, facilitate soft tissue repair, or reduce deep wrinkles, TaylorMade Health has you covered. TaylorMade Health is also the home to Dr. Seed's products such as BPC, BPC Plus, and the Chill Pill. All of my listeners can now get 20% off their first order with code TRY20. That's TRY20. This code can even be used on subscription orders. Visit shrnetwork.biz/try20 today and use code TRY20 for 20% off your first order. The power of light can be truly life-changing and an important element for every superhuman. Because of this, I want you to experience the power of award-winning Celluma light therapy. Celluma utilizes NASA research technology to improve health at the cellular level and is cleared by the FDA to effectively treat a variety of pain, muscle, and joint conditions, as well as facial wrinkles and acne. Our entire team here at Superhuman Radio uses it. Its innovative shape-taking design allows for easy placement anywhere on the body. Choose from 13 different models. For an exclusive listener discount, go to shrnetwork.biz/Celluma. That's CELLUMA and use code SHR10 to save 10% off of one of these award-winning devices. Being superhuman means being conscientious about the choices we make. White Oak Pastures is superhuman when it comes to raising livestock. They're committed to animal welfare, land regeneration, and rural revival. They responsibly manage the entire process from the pasture to your doorstep. High-quality, pasture-raised, great-tasting meat from a farm you can trust. Full nose-to-tail selections. They even have options for your pet. Go to shrnetwork.biz/white oak and use code SHR20 to save 20% off your entire first order. P3OM uses a patented natural process to upgrade a well-researched probiotic strain that doubles every 20 minutes once inside your body. The patent proves this strain is proteolytic, meaning it digests protein. It's antiviral, antiretroviral. It eliminates pathogens and and waste and is maintainable in the human digestive system. What it does better than any other strain is fight the bad guys, bugs like parasites, viruses, and other pathogens in your gut, and it doesn't require refrigeration. If you suffer from bloating, gas, indigestion, or you just need extra protection from viruses, aka bad bacteria, then I'd suggest trying this super single strain probiotic proven to wipe out bad bacteria. Go to bioptimizers.com/SHR to get a 10% discount coupon with code SHR10 and free shipping on all products. Or save even bigger by signing up to one of the plans to get as much as 38% off. That's bioptimizers.com/SHR. Do you remember those delicious toaster pastries you had when you were a kid? You know, the rectangular sugar-filled snacks? Well, guess what? Legendary Foods has just made low-carb toaster pastry. This is the first of its kind, and honestly, these things are amazing. They have 3 to 4 net carb, less than 1 gram of sugar, and 9 grams of protein. You can eat them right out of the wrapper or lightly toast them. The only question is, which flavor, strawberry or brown sugar cinnamon? They're available at eatlegendary.com and Amazon. Are you ready to change the way you age? Of course you are. That's why you're here. Juvicel is a new first-of-its-kind dietary supplement that includes 10 key research-backed ingredients shown in studies to support lifespan. Things like resveratrol, fisetin, quercetin, pterostilbene, sulforaphane, turmeric, all in a single dose. You may have some of these ingredients already, but Juvicel is the first to combine them all into a single product to support your lifespan. It's vegan, non-GMO, and sustainable. Live better longer with Juvicel. Go to shrnetwork.biz/live better. Use code SHR and save 20% off today.
This is the Superhuman Channel, where we use oxygen for the power of good.
Welcome back to Superhuman Radio. We're talking with Dr. Anthony Balduzzi about the Fit Father Project. They have a Fit Mother Project too. So, ladies, what's the website for that for the ladies?
Fitmotherproject.com.
There
also
you go.
have a free meal plan, free workout. So I would definitely start there. We'll send those straight to your email. We also have a YouTube channels as well.
Yeah, your YouTube channel is amazing. I mean, you get millions of views, and every day you're putting. Or is it every day? Or every few times a week, you're putting new videos.
Like 1,000 videos. Like I shot yesterday, like 5-10 videos. So we're shooting a lot of videos.
No, you got to do that. You got to do that. All right. So here's the first question. It comes from Robert Thompson. He says, "Any benefits to what happened? Where did it go? Oh, any benefits to bovine colostrum?" And aging and mTOR.
Man, I'll be honest with you. This one's a little out of my wheelhouse. I've not personally played with colostrum. I know there are some great benefits. I don't know how it cellularly affects mTOR. Carl, do you know? You may know more about this than I do.
Yeah, so I did an experiment with another guy. This is about 4 or 5 years ago, where I was consuming. We had a colostrum sponsor. Mm-hmm. It was not cheap. The company was called Percoba, and I was consuming a pound of colostrum every 2 days. I was replacing some of my whey protein with it. Mm-hmm. And I saw noticeable changes in my physique very, very quickly. I don't know how much of that has to do with the fact that it has a lot more fat. And my calories went up, through fat, or the purported growth factors that are in colostrum. Back then, I was already using a couple IUs of growth hormone a day. I have a prescription. I've been taking two IUs of growth hormone a day for at least, I've taken some vacations from it, but for about 15 years. But I did notice some changes in my physique, and there was another guy who did it, and he claimed to have put on 10 pounds in about 3 weeks. But again, colostrum is very, very, very fatty. It's usually about 50% protein, 50% fat. Mm-hmm. So it's hard to say if it was from the added calories that were not carbohydrate based. So my insulin wasn't going through the roof. Yeah. But it is an interesting, and in fact, Robert turned me on to something. So there's a company in most ruralized cities called Tractor Supply. We have one here in Kentucky, and they sell bovine colostrum in very large quantities at very reasonable prices. And I plan on getting some and using it, because I'm going to I feed my deer. We have a lot of deer on the property, and I'm going to start buying my corn and sweet feed from Tractor Supply because it's cheaper than the pet food store that I buy it from. So it gives me a reason to go there and get that. But yeah, colostrum is very interesting to me. Very, very interesting to me.
Yeah, it definitely is.
Bill Bergman asked this question. I think the timing was around when we were talking about stress. So ashwagandha is one of the popular adaptogens. What do you think of it?
Well, I'm a huge proponent, so much so that we formulated a test booster specifically for Fit Father Project called TBRX. And the main things we put in that test booster was the best form of ashwagandha. KSM 66 is like the one that has the best research on it. And I'll start, and the other things we throw in there, we throw some like basically a ZMA complex, zinc, magnesium. We throw some boron in there as well. You think there's some strong research on boron there. We throw some shilajit in it. It's a really cool resin, has some good energy and kind of some adaptogenic effects too. And we may have a little long jack in there as well, but ashwagandha is the base of our booster. And the reason that we put it in there is because I think the research is very strong for two reasons. One, a lot of studies of the benefits of ashwagandha can increase free and total tests, but more importantly, it's phenomenal for decreasing cortisol levels and being a good, strong adaptogenic herb. I think it's one of the best herbs for men. We do recommend guys take it at night. It can help improve your sleep as well. Ashwagandha root, super solid, get high quality ashwagandha. Now, one thing of note, it can actually increase your thyroid output. So if you are on thyroid medication, some guys do find that they have some interactions. It happens. I wouldn't say it's a super common thing, but something to look out at. But ashwagandha, great male herb, good adaptogen, helps the body with memory as well. I'm a huge fan, and we use that KSM 66 form in our test booster.
I don't know what this says, Robert. Is that IC or 1C or LC? You're gonna L-carnitine. Yeah. What about L-carnitine? Any interest in that?
Well, it's here's my take on it, and I'm not going to say I'm the expert on L-carnitine, but I'll give you some thoughts. I think the N-acetyl L-carnitine, good for brain health, right? Anything we can do to cross the blood-brain barrier, get in there, optimize brain function. Let's be honest, as we age, we want to keep the body right, but I think keeping the mind and the brain health is probably even more important for having a good quality life as we age. So there's benefits there. There is potentially like some concerns with L-carnitine converting to TMAO, and we're still trying to figure out like what exactly, how big of a thing is TMAO. And I don't know, maybe if we do more injectable L-carnitine, that'll bypass like first pass metabolism. It's a possibility there. I don't know. I used to supplement with L-carnitine when I was doing more bodybuilding stuff. Just because it kind of makes sense when you look at the biochemistry, this could probably help with fat loss. I can't say, it's tough to say that it actually did help. I think the studies that show that there may not be a huge benefit of it, but I think there's some good use cases for it. I don't take it every single day. I think you're getting L-carnitine just fine through, if you have animal protein sources in your diet, you're getting it there. And if anything, I'd use it for brain health. We do have N-acetyl L-carnitine in I think one of our heart supplements for our Fit Father Project. Because it's really good for heart health too, right?
Dr. Sinatra, that was his protocol for congestive heart failure.
Yeah,
acetyl-L-carnitine, D-ribose, magnesium, and CoQ10.
Right. It's like, let's give the heart energy. So we put CoQ10 and acetyl-L-carnitine. I think we actually have some boswellia, and we actually have a couple other things in there. But anyways, magnesium and CoQ10, right? So I think L-carnitine can be good for heart health. I'm a little mixed. I'm not going to recommend it. We don't recommend it as like a staple supplement, like things like curcumin, vitamin D3, quality probiotic sources. Like I consider these a little more foundational than L-carnitine, but I think there are some benefits.
Yeah, L-carnitine, the magic is supposed to be that it allows the mitochondria to more readily use fatty acids as a substrate.
Fatty acids. Yeah.
And that's what growth hormone does, by the way. If growth hormone makes changes the substrate desire of the mitochondria to more fatty acid. So if you're like a keto guy, those things are interesting to you. But I've never been a fan of L-carnitine. I am a fan of N-acetylcysteine for liver function, liver health. It also, if you're someone who tends to be congested easily,
respiratory health, mucolytic.
Respiratory health, yes. So that's one that I do take every day. But
NAC, I definitely is. MAC is something I recommend more than supplemental L-carnitine.
Yeah, yeah. And then if you're fat adapted already, if you're a low carb guy and you're using time restricted feeding, you're fat adapted already. I mean,
your mitochondria are cranking, right?
yeah, I mean, I haven't eaten since 6 o'clock last night, and I'm not brain fog. I have plenty of energy. I feel like I'm going to go to the gym later and train fasted.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're like that, you don't need something to tweak the mitochondria to use fatty acids more, because you're already doing it.
That's my thinking too. It's like when it comes to fat loss, you're pulling the levers more through the type of macronutrient you're feeding and being in a calorie deficit. And I think even what I'm a big fan of is this, you mentioned keto, so we'll talk about it for one quick second. I'm a bigger fan of being metabolically flexible. And again, this kind of comes down to the fact that I take this evolutionary perspective on things. And it's like, keto wasn't like a thing back then. If they found berries, they were eating berries. If there was scarcity in certain like winter times, you're not getting as many carbohydrate foods, there was that. So I think the cool thing about intermittent fasting is we can get into ketosis. We're keeping our insulin levels and blood sugar levels stable all the time. You're not advocating a shitty carb diet, but if you're having carbohydrates, sometimes that's good. Other times you're getting in and out of ketosis. I don't know how good it is for long-term keto on the gut microbiome. I think it does shift your gut bacteria into not great things. It sounds like you know something on that.
It's worse than that. So I did a show a year or two ago with Joel Green. Joel is brilliant. Mm-hmm. And there were quite a few good studies that I sent to Joel, and I said, I want to talk about the real potential dangers of the ketogenic diet, because the ketogenic diet became like a fad thing, right? Like everybody's, my blood ketones at 3.2, and it was like, how big are your biceps and how deep into keto can you get? Mm-hmm. And there's excellent research that shows that, as an example, a guy and a girl, they're big into the keto diet. They're both like deep keto. They're always in ketosis, and she gets pregnant. The germ lines actually change because from an evolutionary perspective, the body pays attention to what is abundant and what is scarce.
Yeah.
When it starts to build a human, it builds a human that will be compatible with this environment that the baby is going to be born into.
Wow.
So what you're basically doing is you're telling your body, like, all we have access to is fat. We're pretty much always kind of starving. We're depending on ketones to keep us going. So you need to build a metabolically thrifty baby.
Thrifty, yes.
This environment kind of sucks.
So makes so much sense.
End up with a baby that is imprinted to develop insulin resistance.
Yeah, right. You're getting fat all the time. Insulin resistance, totally.
And so I did this, and I got a lot of back flack. In fact, I was on Tom Bilyeu's show, health IQ health question. I forget what the name of this one show he was doing, and I discussed this, and Tom was really into keto at the time, but he didn't like challenge me. He was like, "Wow, this is interesting," and I got a lot of flack from people like, "Oh yeah, I'm getting 3,000 calories of fat every day. Yeah, my body thinks it's starving." Well, guess what? Ketone bodies are produced when the body is starving and it doesn't have available.
That's why they started. Yeah.
I mean, so don't make fun of me. I'm telling you. And there's science that shows that both the egg and the sperm germ line change to build a thrifty baby. And thrifty baby means that baby can probably eat anything and it's going to get fat.
Right. Exactly right. And we do know as well, it's like from early on adiposity in kids, like before 10, 15, before puberty, is a big determinant of how many fat cells they do have, how easy they can gain weight later in life. So that's a consideration. And I'm also thinking about like the gut microbiome, right? We know how important this is for inflammation, neurotransmitter production, your immune system. Like when we think of ourselves as human, we are our microbiome too. It's a big part of this whole concert ecosystem. And those guys love fiber. Not to say you can't get fiber on a keto diet. You absolutely can if you do it right. But like fiber diversity seems like a very important thing for human health. And so it's very possible if someone does a keto diet poorly and they're just eating like something like bacon, thinking they're doing good for themselves, like they're really probably not doing great for their gut microbiome long term. Now, Yeah, right. There you go. And putrefactive bacteria, the kind of bacteria are going to ultimately, the populations that are going to survive are the ones that are getting the substrate you're feeding it. So if you're only having like a carnivore diet, for example, only protein, only fat, like absolutely no, like an extreme of a keto diet, the kind of gut bacteria you're gonna have are the ones that love to ferment amino acids, and those guys are not nearly as good for you as ones that like to ferment fiber into short chain fatty acids. And let's also talk about one last thing. It's that if we look at even just evolutionary biology, huge fan of looking at this stuff. Like the reason humans developed color vision is so that we could find ripeness of fruits. Like our color vision symbiotically develops so we can look at ripe fruits, and then fruits love when we eat them because we poop out we eat them and then we poop out their seeds, and then they get to go, like, we have a completely symbiotic relationship with fruit trees. And so you can kind of imagine that humans, like, it's like we are meant to eat fruit.
We were selected. We were selected for it because
Correct.
The ones who could tell the difference between fruit ripeness and not, they're the ones that stayed alive and had offspring. So we're literally, that's selection pressure at its best.
It is. And so obviously a good food source for us. So this is why I'm a big fan of like this kind of cyclical intermittent fasting, like eat good, sensible foods, but let's not get crazy about this stuff. Like get your wild caught salmon or your sardines for those omega-3 pulses. Okay, cool. You have low carb days because you're doing intermittent dinner to dinner fast, intermittent fasting. Great. You're getting some greens for some fiber diversity. Okay. You got some blueberries post workout. Totally great. Like, man, we don't need to, like, it's very easy to almost get too extreme, major in the minors, and miss the bigger picture.
Yeah, I agree. Listen, it's been great having you on. We'll have you on again. You and I are literally like separated at birth because a lot of the things you said today, my audience has heard me say.
Oh, yeah.
And so I love what you're doing. One more time, we'll get the banner ad up and let people go to learn more about the Fit Father Project. You can go one or two ways, shrnetwork.biz/fitfather or fitfatherproject.com. Download your free meal plan and workout routine. Get started today. Keep the trajectory the way it's supposed to be going. You made commitments to get in shape this year. Don't fall off the wagon. Get on the Fit Father Project wagon. All right, we'll talk to you again soon, okay, Anthony?
Thanks, Carl, for having me. Talk soon.
So stay tuned. When we come back, we're going to talk about stabilized R-lipoic acid. I've done shows about this. It's an amazing antioxidant, but more importantly, it could actually help you lose a lot more body fat. And Chris Dziak is going to join us from Pure Nootropics. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. TaylorMade Health is focused on making sure you're able to perform and look your best. They are a leader in game-changing supplements and cosmetic products. Whether you want to increase strength, expedite recovery, facilitate soft tissue repair, or reduce deep wrinkles, TaylorMade Health has you covered. TaylorMade Health is also the home to Dr. Seed's products such as BPC, BPC Plus, and the Chill Pill. All of my listeners can now get 20% off their first order with code TRY20. That's TRY20. This code can even be used on subscription orders. Visit shrnetwork.biz/try20 today and use code TRY20 for 20% off your first order. Ready to change the way you age? Of course you are. That's why you're here. Juvicel is a new first-of-its-kind dietary supplement that includes 10 key research-backed ingredients shown in studies to support lifespan. Things like resveratrol, fisetin, quercetin, pterostilbene, sulforaphane, turmeric, all in a single dose. You may have some of these ingredients already, but Juvicel is the first to combine them all into a single product to support your lifespan. It's vegan, non-GMO, and sustainable. Live better longer with Juvicel. Go to shrnetwork.biz/live better. Use code SHR and save 20% off today. Phlebotomy. Folks, I'm pleased to announce that Pure Nootropics is now carrying the antioxidant alpha-lipoic acid in its bioidentical natural form as R-Ala. R-Ala provides protection in many areas and has even been shown to promote weight loss. Check out the interview I did on episode 2608 back in October to learn more. Our friends at Pure Nootropics have been bringing you great products and deals since 2013, and they have another one with R-Ala. Go to shrnetwork.biz/pure and use code SHR30 for a whopping 30% off. Level up. Go Pure.
New Mass Pro Synthogen X2 just upped its own legendary game. To distance itself even further from the rest of the pack, Synthogen X2 now has double the key active ingredients. If you've ever wondered what steroid-like recovery feels like, Synthogen X2 delivers. See why others compare it favorably to powerful bodybuilding drugs at Synthogen.com. Mass Pro Synthogen. When you train with it, you'll gain with it.
Whether your goal is to build muscle or burn fat, you'll find everything you need at Redcon One. Need help getting a good night's sleep? Try Fade Out, or the most popular pre-workout supplement on the market today, Total War. Sign up for their new Transformation Challenge and win $10,000. Or shop for apparel that people at the gym will know that you are serious about your training. Need a testosterone booster that works? Check out Boomstick. Whatever you need, you'll find the best quality supplements on the market at Redcon One. Go to redcon1.com. That's REDCON, the number 1.com, or go to superhumanradio.net and click the Redcon One banner ads today. Getting a massage post-workout is a proven strategy to facilitate better recovery. Getting to massage therapists can be difficult and expensive, especially in these times. The solution is the Meteor, a heated massage ball from Milestorm. Reduce pain and soreness and expedite recovery with the Meteor's research-backed vibration settings and therapeutic heat. It's convenient for travel and works on any body part. Go to shrnetwork.biz/Meteor and use code SHR15 for 15% off and free shipping if you buy 2 or more. Start recovering better today.
You're listening to the Superhuman Channel. Don't hate us because we feel good.
Welcome back. We're joined by Dziak from Pure Nootropics. How you doing? I think the last time we did a show together was before the holiday.
Yeah, that sounds right. It's been a little while. How you been?
Happy New Year. Yeah, very good. Very good. How about you?
Doing well. Just going along. New year, right? So
yeah, new year. Hopefully a lot less stress than last year.
Right? Nowhere to go but up.
Yeah, that's the truth. So I did a show. I've done several shows about alpha lipoic acid over the years. Back in the day, when the thing was to have 80 grams of dextrose, 40 grams of whey protein, and 100 to 200 milligrams of alpha lipoic acid as your post-workout drink. And the theory was that alpha lipoic acid would help shuttle. It had kind of an insulin mimetic type effect. Now we know that wasn't accurate, but it does have a glucose clearing effect. Fast forward to earlier this year, we did a show that showed that alpha lipoic acid, or ALA specifically, could cause dramatic loss of body fat in average people without changing anything about their diet. But the dose was pretty high. And I think the dose was pretty high because this was not a stabilized form of our ALA. And because we asked you to, we said, our audience could really use a good our ALA product at a really reasonable price, because the doses have to be fairly, like 400 milligrams a day. You could take it across a couple times, but 400 to 600 milligrams a day seemed to be where the magic was. But that was because it was not a stabilized our ALA. So talk about what you brought to the audience today.
Yeah, so, ALA has been objective interest for probably about the past 30 years. And what happened is it was basically made in a lab. And what we didn't realize is that although our ALA is something that the body produces naturally and occurs in plants and animals, the lab-made version was a racemic mix. So it had S-ALA as part of that. And so, part of the problem is that a lot of the research into ALA and its benefits have been done with the racemic mix. And so there's people that theorize that when you have the S isomer in addition to the R, they're competing with each other. And so in a best case scenario, the S is simply ineffective. In a worst case scenario, it's actually detrimental.
Yes, because there was a study that was published that showed that taking ALA actually shortened the lifespan of rodents. And that was attributed to the S form being in the body.
And it was super high doses, by the way, in the
none that you would never take. Right.
And it was weird because they had longevity studies in mice that would basically showed that it enhanced life, that it reduced life, and that it had no effect. So it's kind of all over the map or the spectrum, if you will. But it definitely has some cool aspects that come from studying just ALA itself. And you've alluded to a couple of them. One of the big things is that it's an essential cofactor for the enzymatic mitochondrial reactions. And so what you're getting at is it helps increase fat metabolism, basically. And so like they did a study that showed that compared to placebo, ALA reduced, people lost weight, basically. But they didn't, it was more so in a BMI reduction. So it was, replacing fat with leaner muscle, in essence. So that's what's really neat about it. And so like what you're saying is absolutely true, is that the R version is far superior. And so the issue is that you can't just get the R version, you need a stabilized, shelf stable version, and that's why it's bound to the sodium molecule.
Right.
Basically. But it has a whole host of benefits that are already known with ALA. It's just the ALA is a far superior version, right?
So for those people who don't know this, the history behind the R form of ALA, the chemical giant BASF invested millions of dollars to study the R isomer of ALA because they wanted to introduce it as an anti-diabetic drug. So there's a lot of research on the benefits of RALA. The problem was that because RALA is naturally occurring in foods, they couldn't patent it. So they abandoned these millions of dollars of research and just threw it aside and said, well, we can't make any money about it. Why should we tell people how good this stuff is? It's not going to benefit us. That's the pharma companies for you. That's the pharma companies. And on top of that, BASF, through the long arm of organizations like the FDA and the FDA's, the British FDA version, have suppressed, on top of everything, they've suppressed the information. So if you write an article about R-ALA and say, here's what it's good for, based on BASF's own studies, they'll crush you. I know a guy named Larry Berube who introduced R-ALA and got it into like CVS and called it like Glucosolve, and it was selling. And then the people in the diabetes community were like, oh no, no, that's not happening. And they crushed him. But now what's happening, and that's turning the tide, is you have independent universities researching R-ALA that is aside from anything that BASF has had, like this recent study we talked about on the show, where it just magically makes fat disappear, and most importantly, visceral fat, the fat that causes harm, the fat that is like an endocrine system causing inflammation. It targets visceral fat, and now we talk about it because this isn't BASF's research anymore. It's fascinating to me, it really is. So let's talk about the supplement. Let's talk about the supplement. Let's talk about the supplement. So you have been kind enough, and we have a lot of really deep discounts for this audience that aren't available anywhere else at all. But you have put together 60 caps with 250 milligrams per. So really, logistically, you just have to take one of these twice a day to see some of the results. But this is the stabilized. This is bound to sodium, correct?
Right.
And if my audience goes to shrnetwork.biz/pure and uses the code SHR30, they'll not only get this ridiculously low priced product, which everything Pure Nootropics does is like buying direct from the manufacturer, because you are. But on top of that, they're giving us an additional 30% off if you use the code SHR30, which means that you'll be able to buy enough of this stabilized R-Ala to use every day for months and months and months and actually see the changes in your body fat. Because who cares about these studies if you can't afford to emulate the end results? It doesn't matter. If you got to break the bank, because R-Ala is not inexpensive. It's not by any means. And while you're there, you can also get 30% off of DHM, which is the anti-hangover. I like to call it anti-hangover product. The Superhuman Stack, you get 25% off, or just 10% off site-wide, SHR10. So this is a company that bends over backwards to not only produce products that we want, but to give them to us at a ridiculous price. shrnetwork.biz/pure. Use the code SHR30 to get 30% off the new stabilized R-Ala. Thank you so much for doing that, by the way, because I know that you had to go out and source it, cap it, bottle it, make labels, and then stock it inventory-wise to make it available to my audience. You did this just for us.
Yeah, it takes time, but I mean, we know you know what you're talking about, and so we had a Ala product, but it was just the racemic version, and so it kind of been on our radar. But definitely after talking to you, I went back with my head of research and looked at it, and it looked like something that fit with what we want to do as well, because it has a whole host of benefits, as you know. I mean, like just all over the map. It's a very good, just general wellness supplement. And in addition to the weight management aspects of it, I mean, like you can pair it with a lot of other supplements, and it has a kind of I hate to use the word synergy, but like a synergistic type effect where when it's taken with creatine and it enhances muscle total creatine content,
uptake, right?
And it's often paired with Alcar. And a lot of the studies, you guys were just talking about that right when I hopped on with Dr. Anthony. ALA is paired with Alcar because of the mitochondrial effects, and it has favorable effects on mitochondrial decay in aging models and in diabetes and hypertension, as you kind of alluded to. So, I mean, it's got some really neat properties, and one of the neatest ones, in my opinion, is that it kind of serves to regenerate. And I'm sure like you've covered this already with your Ala expert, but it basically regenerates other used antioxidants. So like glutathione, when it donates that electron to scavenge a free radical, it becomes kind of a free radical itself. Mm-hmm. And it can take an electron from ALA and become an active glutathione scavenger once again. And it works with glutathione, CoQ10, vitamin C, vitamin E, and it's cool because it also reduces markers of inflammation and oxidative stress. So, I mean, it's definitely like one of those daily supplements that is pretty innocuous because it's very safe. Your body produces it naturally. And so we want you guys to have it because we know that once you take it, you'll like it. You'll see benefits from it. And that's why we want to get you on it because and give you a good price because it's going to work for you. And if it doesn't, we offer a money back guarantee. So try it out.
Explain what the sodium does to stabilize, because I'm thinking, okay, so you have an acid and you have a salt. And we know that from early chemistry in high school, right? The base and acids and salts, they all have like this relationship. So what does the bonding of the sodium do that stabilizes it?
I think, and I'm don't recall exactly, but I think it prevents the oxidation of the R-Ala.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
is what it's in essence doing, because it'll degrade over time.
And become a pro-oxidant. Vitamin C does that. People don't realize if you buy an old bottle of vitamin C, a portion of it may no longer be antioxidant, maybe pro-oxidant because it's oxidized already. It's the antioxidant value has been fighting off the air in that bottle all along. So,
right.
Yeah. So this is the product, folks. We've been waiting for it. I am going to be using it. This is a stabilized R-ala that will help you lose body fat, improve mitochondrial function. It's a powerful antioxidant. If you go to shrnetwork.biz/pure, stock up, use the code SHR30 to save an additional 30% off an already ridiculously low price. And show Chris, Zach, and Pure Nootropics some love because they support this show. And like I say, we do all this work for you, the audience, to gain information. And in return, we hope that you always patronize the sponsors whenever possible. I think we've covered it pretty thoroughly, don't you?
I think you're right. We sure have. If there's any questions, feel free to forward them to our customer service, and we'll try and get back to your. If your audience has any now, we can try and.
Yeah, I mean, you could post questions, but if not, you can send them to. You want them to send them directly to your customer service? You want them to send them to me, and I forward them to you.
Your call. Whatever's easier for your audience, we're good with.
Yeah, I don't even want to be in the middle. Give your customer service a contact email. Yeah,
so just our email is orders@purenootropics.net.
There you go. So if you have questions about it, go to orders, email orders@purenootropics.net. That's it. That's it.
Right.
All right, Chris, thanks always for helping us out,
Thank
brother.
you, Carl. Have a good one. Take care.
Okay. Talk to you soon. All right, and that's the end of today's show. I'm going to say goodbye to everybody. Please share this show. Help somebody else out. And we'll see you tomorrow with more Superhuman Radio. Don't forget the secret word. No matter when you hear it, email it in. You may be a winner. Secret word, email it to onair@superhumanradio.net. We'll see you tomorrow with more Superhuman Radio.
Yeah.